absolute all-time favorite books starts actually with a life or death struggle. So just picture this. There's this little tiny fly, and it's in front of a window, and it knows it needs to get outside to survive. So this little fly keeps flying up against this window. It tries harder and harder and faster, doing more to try to get out this window. And I also want you just to take a moment and think to this. What the fly does not know is right to the side, there's this big open window. It can just fly right through. What it's doing is something I actually notice in the entrepreneurial world happens over and over again. We see our goal, we see our destination, we are that little fly trying to get out that window, and yet what we think we need to do is to work harder, faster, doing exactly the same thing that we've done before over and over and pushing, and then we end up with a life or death struggle. Where, when you can make a simple choice to simply turn your perspective, just simply look, and then you'll see this big open window, a big open doorway. Everything that you desire is actually easier to achieve just by changing your perspective. So hey, I'm Laura Wright actually. If we don't know each other yet, I want to take a moment just to say hi to you and thank you for taking some time to watch this video. Today, what I really want to share with you is something that I've used in my business to create epic leaps forward. And the first thing I like to do is I like to attach to Believably big goals. Now I'm going to tell you exactly how to do that at the end of this video, but first I want to tell you a little bit about me because you might be thinking, who's this crazy girl? Who am I listening to? So I want you just to take a moment and think back to about 2003. Wherever you were and whatever you were doing in your life, I was a spunky gal getting ready to start a huge, and I knew it was going to be huge, real estate investment company. I dove all the way in. I didn't just try to buy one house or renovate one house or do anything. I bought about 7 houses within the first few months of being in business. I drew together over a few years a team of 10. We were out there, we were real estate investors hitting the pavement, making money. We were the We Buy Houses sign and we were doing it big. And in fact, over about 5 years, we bought, sold, renovated, wholesaled, and rented out over 100 homes. If you know anything about real estate, that's kind of a lot of numbers. I managed to draw forward this $1 million business and this remarkable team, and I never questioned myself. I just went and did it. In fact, I even started training other people how to do it too. And then 2008 hit, and the bubble burst. My partnership actually, I like to say, kind of imploded. It didn't just dissolve, it broke apart. We ended up with many properties out that couldn't be sold. I sometimes can't even go all the way back into how bad it was, but I want to give you a little picture. There was a day right at the end of September was when everything started going downhill, but there was an end of the day right around January, December. It was nasty out, I remember it, because I threw on a quick little light jacket to go outside to get something out of my car, and I managed to pull the door shut behind me. I locked myself out. The one little silver lining was I happened to lock my pup inside, so he wasn't out there with me. But I found myself in the sleet in a tiny little jacket. There was almost no bar left on my phone. I'm locked out and I'm realizing that the world is kind of crashing around me. My business was $450,000 in debt. Personally, I was about $73,000 in debt and I was hemorrhaging about $9,000 a month. The most terrifying thing about this was that my now husband, the man that I lived with at the time, didn't even know how bad it was. And in fact, I wasn't even addressing how bad it was. I had my head in the sand and I was trying to keep going. So in that moment on that front porch, I broke down. I let it all go. I cried my eyes out. If you know anything about me, some days I don't like to cry. But I let it go. And when my now husband came home, I sat down and told him the story of what was going on. In that moment, I made a decision to change my life forever. And I would like to tell you that it was easy. I would like to tell you that I just snapped my fingers, debt flew away, business boomed again. But that's not exactly how it went, but some remarkable things did happen. I paid off all of that debt. I didn't file bankruptcy, I paid off every penny. I did that in about 6 years. I managed to actually marry this man of my dreams that stood by me during this time. We now have a happy, healthy, amazing, about to be 5-year-old. He's just a light of my life. We moved from the house that we were in previously that we almost lost during that dark time into the home of our dreams. Humongous, big, beautiful. We've now since moved back into the city and we love it. And right now the world is a different place. But there's something that I did that took me from where I was on that porch to where I created a new epic leap in my business. And and it's what I really want to talk with you about. I actually did not do what I originally did with my real estate business. I hid. I started doing the motions to get myself back in gear. I went behind the scenes. I actually started helping other women build $1 million businesses, but I stayed behind the scenes. I stayed small. I kept my goals little. I just tried to get by. I just wanted to pay off my debt. I just wanted to make sure we were okay. And everything came to a head about 18 months ago. I had this remarkable client who I adore, and in a month, I sold about $85,000 worth of her coaching services. $85,000. It was pretty awesome. I also worked about a couple 80-hour work weeks, and I've got a kid, and if you've got a kid, you know what that means. Nights away from your kid and doing stuff you don't really love. The thing that really hit me was that while I loved my client, when I loved what I was doing, my check that I got from that $85,000 was just paltry. It's around $6,000. And it just got me that I was playing small. I was not doing what I was training others to do. I was not helping myself create 6-figure launches, 7-figure events, and big, beautiful businesses. So I decided to take an epic leap of my own. I went a little radical. You may go radical on your side, you may not. But what I did was I dropped 2 of my highest paying clients, the ones that accounted for 80% of my income. And what I want for you to know is I'd retired my husband. You know, he was at home taking care of the munchkin and taking care of our house and being an amazing support. So I was the sole provider. And in that moment, I decided that if I was going to get what I wanted in my business, it was time to do what I had done before, to be absolutely bold. So I dropped these clients. I actually packed my family up and moved them out of state to New York. We all went together. You don't have to go again that bold. But what I decided to do in that 1 month was that I was going to double my banked income, and I was going to book as much as I made the previous year in 30 days. Now, what happened with this decision to take an epic leap, this just allowed everything that wasn't necessary to drop away. And guess what I did? In about 28 days, I'm very proud it didn't take all 30, I signed on 13 new clients, doubled my income, and I want for everyone to hear, I was already at a place of making about 6 figures. So we were talking something big. I doubled my bank income that month, and I booked more in 28 days than I had earned in the entire of the year before. I bring this to you because I want to see this for you too. So what I want to do is just teach you a little technique that I love, which helps you take believably big goals, these big dreams that you have, and it's the first step to turning them into reality. So here's step number 1. Step number 1 is you actually have to decide to do something completely different than you've done before to get different results. Think back to that little fly. You know how the fly is just banging against that wall. That's what many entrepreneurs do. We're out there, we send out a Facebook post, one more the next day, one more the next day, always, always, always. It's time to actually do different things to get different results because your window's right beside you. With a little tilt to your head, you can see the easy path forward. I'll tell you what, my 30 days, it was not easy work, but hey, it worked. It was fun. It was a lot less effort than I'd been going through for the whole previous year. And it actually created this windfall that turned into more and more clients and more income each and every month. So step number 1 is decide to claim something believably big for yourself. Now here's what I like to do and say. If you want $10,000, and I like talking money, you guys know I'm epic at sales, so it's all about money. If you want $10,000 and you aim for $10,000 and you fall short, it's going to corrode your confidence. Plus, if you fall short, you didn't get your goal. Now, if you take that same goal, if you still desire $10,000 a month, well, first, if you're talking with me, I'm going to tell you it should be 20 or 30 or 40. But if you still desire that 10 and you go at it with the energy that you would put forth to bring in $100,000, you are required to do different things to get to $100,000 than you are to get to 10. Even if you fall short of that 100, that 10 is going to be right there in your hands. So here's how I set goals when I'm looking for money goals. So thing number 1, I never ever choose just the bare minimum I need to get. So if you in your mind are right now thinking, I just need $10,000 this month, I want for you to really think, what would it be like? What would the expansive space be? What if that was like 11 or 12? I mean, it's not even a big jump. It's just more than what you need. So you have the time to go out to dinner with hubby or wife, so that you have the ability to go have a little enjoyable, shopping trip. So more than thriving. That should be your baseline number. Go ahead and choose that now. If If you haven't already, there should be a little workbook at the bottom, a PDF that you can click on. You can have that in hand, and if you don't have it right now, just pull out a piece of paper. What you want to do is then write out what would be your goal that would be outstanding. Okay, so we've got 10,000, maybe 12,000. That feels good. I've got what I need. Now, what would be next, that next level up? Maybe that's 15 or 20. That's life's good. We're going on an extra vacation. I just bought some new video equipment. I'm going on a shopping trip. I'm giving back to a charity of my choice, you name it. And then I want for you to think about what would be your holy shit, this is the best goal I could ever have. Like, if I was making 40, 50, 60,000 a month, I'd be dancing in the street. I want you to think to that goal. Now, there's two things you want to do with this goal. So thing number one, I want you to circle that big number. Forget about the other two. I want you to aim with the energy that it would take to reach that big number, because that's when it's going to draw forward for you, and hit it till you hit it. The other thing I want you to do is take a moment to really think of what's the job for that money. Each time I set up a big goal, I actually look at, what do I want that money to do? Because if right now I have a need for 10,000, but I desire 60, good chance I'm bringing in 10. So take that big, beautiful goal that you have, that big, amazing number, that holy shit, I have everything I want number. And I want for you just to write out what that turns into. Is that 10,000 into your savings? Is that 5,000 for taxes? Is that, 20 grand to go stay in Florida for a month? Pick what you want it to be and believe towards it. When you start taking action from that believably big goal, that's going to be your first step. The next thing I'm going to teach you on our next video is I'm actually going to tell you some stories. I'm going to tell you some stories of some amazing women who've gone through their own epic leaps, because I see this for you. What I want for you to know and to listen when you hear their stories is how their stories might match yours, but also how their stories are different. So take some time today and sit down and figure out your 3 numbers. Make your decision to make that really big goal happen. And I hope you take some inspiration in the story that I've shared with you today. Be sure to go ahead and watch video number 2. It's fantastic to have them all in the series. I can't wait to see you again.